the most feared oceanic predator of all time, could bite its razor-sharp teeth down with as much deadly force as a Tyrannosaurus rex. Head to tail, it stretched further than a school bus. For millions of years, Megalodon was king of the ocean. Nothing could stand up to it. The Megalodon reputation is as frightening as any animal in history. However, that's the thing. It's just a reputation. In reality, a number of other deep-sea demons, swamp scavengers, and lake lurkers could take down the former apex predator. From enormous whales to 60-foot reptiles, ancient dinosaurs, and modern sharks. As you're about to see, Megalodon had a number of formidable opponents. The world's most frightening snake grew to frightening lengths of almost 50 feet long. It slithered menacingly through what is now the La Guajira region in northeastern Colombia, taking out anything and everything that crossed its path. Tilting the scales at more than a ton, it would take something extremely vicious and powerful to put up a half-decent fight against the titanoboa. Enter the guest of honor, Megalodon. Megalodon was not only the biggest shark in the world, but one of the largest fish ever to exist. Estimates suggest it grew between 15 and 18 meters in length, 3 times longer than the largest recorded great white shark. You might be thinking, how on earth would a giant reptile and a monstrous shark compete with one another? Despite its large size, Titanoboa could swim with great speed through the ancient Amazonian waters. Whether scooting across land or wading through rivers, if this serpent was on the hunt for food, there was no stopping it. In fact, most snakes are deceptively good swimmers. About 58 million years have passed since Titanoboa roamed the earth. However, with $24.95, you can see it today for yourself and decide for yourself how it would have fared against the Meg. The Jacksonville Zoo and Gardens has recreated this beast, comprising 20,000 individually placed scales. It's a replica 65-foot horror show. The name Leviathan, which pays tribute to the fearsome sea monster in the Old Testament, is more than fitting for this giant prehistoric whale. As a pound-for-pound match for Megalodon, paleontologists believe that Leviathan measured upwards of 50 feet from head to tail and weighed as much as 50 tons. That's as much as not 1, not 2, but 4 fully decked out school buses. Megalodon has 2 very significant reasons to fear Leviathan. 1. Inside the prehistoric whale's giant skull, its teeth were far longer and thicker than that of any other animal, including the Meg, with some of them measuring well over a foot. Good luck escaping those jaws. 2. As a warm-blooded mammal, Leviathan, thanks to his presumably bigger brain, would have boasted slightly faster reaction times. In a battle, a split second can make all the difference. Megalodon lived approximately between 23 and 3.6 million years ago, during the early Miocene period through the Pliocene period. Leviathan, on the other hand, mostly thrived between 9.9 and 8.9 million years ago. With a clear overlap, these 2 underwater Goliaths may well have crossed each other's paths, neither one of them willing to back down. If Megalodon had a rumble in its belly, any unfortunate nearby sea creature was asking for trouble. It didn't matter if you were a fish, a baleen whale, a toothed whale, dolphin, dugong, or seal, the Meg wasn't fussy when it came to lunch. One whale, however, which would have posed a heck of a challenge for Megalodon, was the Zygophyseter verili. Just because its name might not be as catchy, doesn't mean it should be underestimated. We didn't even know the zygo existed until 2006, when scientists found an almost fully intact skeleton off the coast of Italy. But since its discovery, the science community has recognized that this ancient ocean explorer, which grew to almost 25 feet long, was a mighty strong fighter. It's been given the nickname killer sperm whale, and it's not exactly difficult to understand why. Its sharp 10-inch teeth, 28 of which sat in the lower jaw and 26 in the upper jaw, were powerful enough to rip through anything unlucky enough to be swept into its mouth. And yes, that potentially included our beloved Megalodon. Seeing as the killer sperm whale lived during the Tortonian age of the late Miocene period, roughly between 11 and 7.5 million years ago, a face-to-face encounter was a real possibility. Who would you back? For another whale who knew how to hold its own in the ring, allow us to introduce you to the Brygmophyseter, affectionately known as the biting sperm whale. See those teeth? Yep, now that nickname starts to make sense. Brygmophyseter is estimated to have been around 23 feet or 7 meters long, with 12 jagged teeth lining each of its top and bottom jaws. While its frame remains low level, Brygmophyseter actually made an appearance on the History Channel show Jurassic Fight Club. If you've missed it, here's the lowdown. A pod of Brygmophyseters were approached by a hungry Megalodon, and while the prehistoric shark managed to take down one of the whales, the rest of them teamed up to scare Megalodon off. Safety in numbers, folks. Speaking of film and TV, we're sure you've all heard of The Meg. The smash hit managed to rake in a worldwide gross income of over $530 million, a huge profit from the roughly $150 million budget. The film reignited the long-standing question, how was it possible, without any reasonable explanation, that the 50-foot-long super predator simply disappeared? Well, science might have the answer, and it's not a colossal reptile or a sharp-toothed whale. Ladies and gentlemen, the mega-marine creature may have been killed off by none other than Carcharodon carcharias, otherwise known as our modern great white shark. The great white's torpedo shape is engineered for speed, allowing it to rocket up to 35 miles an hour underwater. And once it catches its prey with its 300 piercing teeth, resistance is futile. Great whites first showed up on Earth about 6 million years ago, creating a perfect temporal overlap to threaten the Megalodon. Even though Megalodon was 3 times bigger than the largest great whites, a shiver of bloodthirsty sharks could take down any creature, no matter how big or small, so long as they work together. In Australia, the shark diving industry is estimated to bring in more than $25.5 million annually. So yes, you can get up close and personal with these undersea assassins, but do so at your own risk. We know that the Megalodon had size on its side. Compared to great whites and sperm whales, its sheer volume would have likely allowed it to triumph in any undersea battle. But if there's one creature who presented as a serious match, it was the 50-foot-long Tyrannosaurus. With a heck of an appetite, the carnivorous Tyrannosaurus was a prehistoric animal synonymous with intimidation. Anything and everything from fish to sharks, smaller mosasaurs, plesiosaurs, and even flightless birds were on the menu. This humongous predatory marine reptile sat firmly atop the food chain for millions of years and would have put a serious dent in Megalodon's reputation. While these creatures may have shared slightly different habitats or thrived in different eras, we like to imagine a world where they all lived alongside each other so that we can find out who really is the apex predator of the animal kingdom. So which of the menacing duo do you think would be the one left standing? While not technically a dinosaur, the powerful, unique hunter that was the Liopleurodon coexisted with many dinos throughout the Calovian stage of the Middle Jurassic period. As a plesiosaur, Liopleurodon skirted through the seas of what we now consider modern Europe, ambushing its prey with a sudden burst of speed and using its enormous jaws to finish the job. Unlike most ocean dwellers, this creature zipped through the water by flapping its 4 flippers as if they were wings. Other plesiosaurs and fish, no matter how big or small, would rarely escape the wrath of the mighty Liopleurodon. Inching towards 23 feet in total length, there's reason to believe that Liopleurodon may have been able to hold its own against a smaller Megalodon. More and more evidence of creatures just like Liopleurodon are being found with every passing year, per National Geographic, with some fossils turning out to be a gold mine, worth well upwards of tens of thousands of dollars. What do you get when you combine a ruthless crocodile with a shark and throw in elements of a dinosaur? You get the 60-foot-long, meat-eating Mosasaurus, a Cretaceous predator that used its razor-sharp teeth to tear through anything. Even the thick, well-armored skin of the gator-like reptile was no match for this bite force. You'd assume that a beast the size of Mosasaurus would target its prey with force and force alone. But in reality, it was a supremely cunning animal, which implemented stealth tactics to catch its dinner. These creatures would often lurk in the dark and wait for marine mammals to come up for air before viciously pouncing. The largest Mosasaurus was slightly longer than a Megalodon, however considerably lighter at just 15 tons. Well, just 15 tons is still the equivalent of 170 average American humans, not exactly a featherweight. Long considered to be the T-Rex equivalent of the ocean, what you see before you now is known as Thalassemodon. Growing up to an intimidating 28 feet, this monster roamed the open oceans during the Mesozoic era, while also being able to come up to the surface and breathe air. As the first sizable predator to emerge after the last mass extinction, it didn't take long for Thalassemodon to establish itself as one of the kings of the sea. While scientists are still coming to conclusions about its role in the food chain, and have been ever since its first fossil was discovered in 1943, it's widely believed that Thalassemodon was the first ocean predator to be able to devour prey its own size. If it had the ability to take down significantly sized opponents, who's to say it couldn't have posed a threat to the Meg? Day in and day out, we hear rumors about Megalodon still lurking in the oceans. What if it never actually went extinct? The oceans are enormous after all, and it would cost trillions to scour every inch of them. Could it still be hiding in the depths alongside goblin sharks, vampire squids, and the like? If it were to be true, if the Meg lived with us today, then it would have one formidable opponent to contend with. The largest animal ever to have lived, bigger than all of the marine mammals and dinosaurs to come before it. We're talking, of course, about the blue whale. Growing nearly to the size of a jumbo jet, the longest blue whale ever measured was 111 feet long. Just a single blue whale weighs the same as about 112 adult male giraffes. These creatures may be enormous, but they're typically good-natured. That being said, when you're that big, ain't nobody gonna get in your way, not even Megalodon. If you're lucky, a $60 whale-watching ticket in Monterey Bay, California, among other places, will get you up close and personal. Of every creature we've seen today, which do you think could actually take down Megalodon? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, thanks for checking out The Richest. We'll see you next time.